Outstanding.
Welcome again to another tutorial video. It's your boy Eldorado and Ting. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell notification button. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Eldorado Productions. And don't forget to visit my website for a bunch of goodies. So without further ado, um, this tutorial is about gluing your drums sounds together and how you can get the most out of it. Because a lot of times I hear a lot of beats that I've been mixing sessions that the kick not really punch through and the low end kind of muffle sometime, like the low mids kind of muffle sometime, and it not really hard. So some of these problems tend to happen when the drums are not glued together and they are not compressed properly. Now, it can depends. It can be based off your feeling, but I think that sometimes you can really get more based off of how you feel it should sound. So let me dive into the mixer track and to the drum auxiliary and explain all of this stuff. As you can see, the tracks are really not named or colored. I suggest that you get into the habit of coloring your drums, coloring your tracks, and naming them also. But I have a tendency not to do so, and I'm not following what I'm preaching. Anyways, first I have on the drum auxiliary a drum bus, because I'm a Pro Tools user, so I will name these things auxiliary. So you can name it drums bus or drums or whatever you might call it. So I'm a heavy Pro Tools user, so bear with me. Auxiliary bus is practically the same thing. Alright, so without further ado, the first plugin that I have on the auxiliary that I have here is Pro Q Fab Filter 3 and the preset drum bus EQ2. Soon to release this preset pack with a lot of preset that I use in FL Studio and in Pro Tools, so you can have it to use to as your go-to. You will make your mixing a little bit more easier. What I do, see, I can solo up some things. Solo the drums. Select a section of the beat, like the chorus. Alright. Pull out the mixer. Alright, so drums are here. Alright, so initially what I did here is the very low frequency, I cut it out. However, you can really go up high with it as much as 30 hertz, because the very sub frequency, you're not gonna really hear that to majority of the speaker them you're gonna really hear. Listen through, you're not gonna really hear it. The most we hear it is like in clubs, or I don't even go even hear it, even if when you're at a small party, birthday party or something like that. So you can really cut those lows, because really and truly you're not gonna hear it and you're not gonna really noticeable when you cut up to 30 hertz. But you have to be mindful, because some of the curves and these EQs start at a higher hertz than the actual number that you say that you're cutting. So if you're cutting like 25 hertz or so forth, the curve probably might start around 35 or 40 years. So you have to really be mindful of how you cut your lows. So what I did at 60 hertz, I boosted it at 2 decibels, with a slight slope to kind of bring up the lows a little bit more, because you have to think about your mix three dimension, and I will go over that in another video, how you can really think about your mix in a 3-dimension way. So when I push the lows off the drum, I tend to give it more height. So that's why that is what I can do to really get more height from your lows, from your drums. So another thing that I also subtract with this EQ, because I did boosting and subtract. Normally I would cut with one EQ and boost with the other, but for this particular tutorial and the sake of the preset pack, I did so. And this is very much a transparent EQ, so it's not that I'm adding much color to the drum process overall, because I didn't really want it to have that much color. So what I did here at the low mid section, I cut some frequencies with a very slightly wide band to get rid of a little bit of the dull boxiness in which the whole drums are playing, cohesively. So it doesn't make much of a difference, because I haven't cut much, but I just cut it tiny bit. So I didn't want to be very aggressive on the bus. I wouldn't advise you to be very aggressive with boosting and subtracting on the bus, because remember, everything have to do with drums and percussion is coming there, so you don't really want to cut too much of one frequency that affects the goodness of another sound in that frequency. So it's more like giving and taking in this situation. So for this particular drum kit that I use on this beat, as you can see, you have a slight peak here. So what I did is I subtract around 3 dBs, and also use the compressor part, the gain reduction part of this EQ. It is very versatile EQ, and it's a really amazing EQ. So what I did also is compress it so it doesn't stick out too much, and I give it a little bit of highs, because further processing down the line, I know that more highs are going to be in play. So around like 9,000-10,000 kilohertz, I give it a slight boost. So moving on to the next plugin, I have FabFilter Saturn 2, in which I turned down the presence and boosted the low mids a little and the high mids a little, and have the settings on gentle saturation, and the drive is about 12 o'clock. Initially, what this do, it adds harmonics to the content that and slightly smooth it out a little, because I didn't add a lot of saturation to it to help glue the track together and kind of smooth it out a little bit more. So I have a very clean, and not really clean, more pristine drum sound. So bear in mind that if you have bad samples working with and you don't process them properly, then you're gonna have a bad sound at the end. You can't leave garbage within your tracks and expect it go come out as gold. No, you have to process it. Not everything needs to be processed, but where it needs to be processed, you do so also. So last but not least, on this drum bus, I have the vertical discrete compressor from Plugin Alliance, and the settings that I have on it is the threshold is 1 o'clock, the ratio is 2 to 1, the attack time is 30 milliseconds, and the release time is 0.6, and I boost it back as much as how I reduced it. Now what this type of setting has done for me is to add more dynamics and more punch to the kick, so the kick can, you know, thump through the mix a little bit more, and the track get a little bit more height. So as me say, you have to really think about your mix in a 3-dimension way whenever you're mixing, and I'll go through a follow-up video with that further on down the line about 3-dimension mixing. So this is what it sounds with it on it, without. It adds a little bit of gain to it also. So 2.8. Yeah, it mostly compressing the kick. So say for instance, you have a plugin similar to this, or this plugin, if you don't really want to compress the low ends that much, what you can do is use the sidechain filter that is built within the plugin, and have the sidechain filter active at 60 Hz. But in a case like that, I would necessarily turn it down, so around 2 dB. That's the same volume that I'm reducing. I make up for after. So as you can hear, the snare get a little bit more snappy and a little bit more clear and upfront within the mix. So let me play this in context. You can hear what really are going. As you can hear, you know, it is there. I'll play it again. Yeah, so that is how I glue my drums, or process my drums and my track. So thank you for watching. You have made it to the end of the video. Thanks for tuning in to this tutorial video. Hope it helped in some way, somewhat, of some kind of form, and hope you can apply it to your mix. So if you have any other suggestion or any other thing that you think I could have tried on the drum bus, I'm always open to suggestions, so please do leave your comments in the comment section below, and don't forget to give it a like, subscribe. Until another tutorial video, it's a boy Eldorado. Peace out.